And I want to acknowledge you for making time today to attend this workshop. I personally believe it's really important to spend even just a little bit of time at the end of every month to regroup, reset, reflect, and acknowledge ourselves for the good thing that we did and spend some time just thinking about our intentions for the upcoming month. And it doesn't have to be goal setting. It doesn't have to be this big thing. But I think that if we don't measure, or we don't at least spend some intentional time thinking about where we are right now and maybe where we want to go, then the year kind of just flies by. And I don't know about you, that's happened to me so many years where I have these great plans, these great intentions in January, and then shit hits the fan in March or April or February, and then all of a sudden, like, I go off, kind of off the rails. And then all of a sudden it's November and I feel like I haven't really accomplished much. So I've started this practice a number of years ago where I just every month review, and I'll share with you kind of what I do, and hopefully it helps you, like I said, reduce some overwhelm, because we just get so inundated with our to-do lists and deadlines, and sometimes we kind of can't see the forest for the trees because we're so in the thick of things. And I don't know if that's your experience, ladies, but I know that's what I hear a lot from my clients. I know that's where I've been, where, the month just kind of goes by, and it's just, I think it's really important to take some time to regroup. And when we're in this like overwhelm feeling, we go into fight or flight. And I know you have heard about fight or flight. So, we go into this fight or flight situation and it shuts down our brain, right? We just go into this kind of primal reactive state where we shut down, or we just want to run away, which means we just ignore things completely. And so taking some time just to, like I said, have some time to ourselves, reflect, and think about where we want to be, and just take some intentional time for that really shuts down that fight or flight and gets us out of that heightened state of cortisol and adrenaline and anxiety and stress, and just lets us kind of think things through just in a calm, peaceful way. So that's why I find this practice really empowering and also just very calming for me, and helps me just take some control of what I'm doing with my life. So that's my intention. I found this really nice quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, "It takes as much energy to wish as it does to plan." And I feel like, I'm going to close my window. I feel like sometimes we just wish, like, oh, I wish I could just do this goal. I wish I could, have this time. I wish I could do this thing that I wanted to do. I wish I could have time to read a book, or I wish I had time to whatever it is that we want to do. And we spend all this time in this kind of wishful thinking versus taking a few minutes of time every month just to set up a little bit of a plan. So I thought that was a really interesting quote, and inspired me as well, and just kind of keeps me motivated too, just to kind of keep things going. So you both know me. I'm a love coach. I help women reduce overwhelm, get clarity on what they want, and just feel really good about themselves. So I don't have to do too much of an intro for you two wonderful ladies. And just a reminder that this is a safe space. So I'm recording, but some of it's just for my own purposes and to kind of just share with other people in my bubble kind of thing. But we are in a safe space. Everything that we say here is with the intention of being supportive and being inclusive and being from a spirit of learning, right? So we're here to learn, we're here to share our wisdom, we're here to reflect, we're here to look after ourselves, and we're here to be, I'm just reminding you, non-judgmental of others, but primarily of ourselves, right? So this isn't meant to be a place where, oh my gosh, I didn't get stuff accomplished in May and so I'm a failure. No, it's just, we're here to learn, and we're here to grow, and we're here to develop ourselves. And the fact that you're here and taking the time is so amazing. And like I said, I really want to acknowledge you for that, because I think it's really important to do that. So what to expect from this workshop? It's going to be mostly personal reflection. So hopefully you have your journal, or Marilyn, you're in bed, you can just close your eyes and just reflect on things. I just have some journaling prompts. I'll give you a little bit of time I'm happy to share these slides with you as well. I can email them to you after, and it's just something you can reflect on over the next few days, maybe even create your own practice at the end of every month and just use similar questions. There's Marilyn, yes?
I journal every day.
That's because you're amazing.
I journal, I do affirmations twice a day.
Awesome.
There are 11 affirmations I do, and I do them twice a day.
Amazing.
So,
amazing. Yeah, that's so good, right? So hopefully some of these journaling prompts are new to you and just kind of help you just set the tone for the month of June and just kind of acknowledge where you're, what you've accomplished. I'm also happy, like, we can have a bit of discussion if you want. If you want to share, that's totally cool as well, just to learn from each other. Or if you just want to get something off your chest, that's cool too. But primarily, it's just going to be kind of personal reflection time. Hopefully that's okay. But just feel free to ask any questions. So I kind of like to start too by just getting a sense of how you're feeling right now. And I have these like wonderful images here, and without thinking too much about it, which one resonates with you today, and maybe tell us why. So maybe Elizabeth, I'll start with you. Is there one that you're like, yeah, that's how I feel today or feel right now?
Um, I like the raft because I feel a little bit like I've like the year has gone so fast and I haven't so I signed up for a design course and I haven't done a lick of work on it and I'm kind of really upset with myself and I feel like it's time like I'm insecure so I don't want to know how much I don't know, which is dumb. Like that's stupid. That's why you go to school. But I feel like that's one of the places that I've really failed and I've only got a certain amount of time to do it. And but I've been helping other people design their places and stuff. So that's cool. Like it's just a hobby of mine and I've been doing my own space and stuff. But I feel like it the raft is going without me.
Well, let's get you back on the raft. Marilyn, what about you?
the one in the forest
Mm,
with the trees.
mm,
It's calming, and I'm
yeah,
calm today.
good, good. That's good to hear. That's awesome. Let's keep you there. Let's keep
Yeah.
you with this sense of ease and calm and in being in nature, right? So healing. So I'm going to start with kind of a past month reflection. I think it's nice just to close out the month of May, and the last day of the month is tomorrow, so it's perfect timing right now. But I'm just going to give you a minute or two just to think about, go through your calendar or just reflect back on the month of May and what were some of your wins? What were some of your successes? And these can be anything, personal, business, they can be really big accomplishments, or they can be, little small wins along the way. So, and just jot them down. I'm going to give you just a minute or two to do that. And then kind of like a related question to that is, what went really well this month for you? What went really well for you? I'm happy if you want to share some of your successes, but what I'm really curious about is, do you acknowledge yourself for the successes and the wins that you've had? Just shaking your head. Why not?
Yes, I have.
You do, Marilyn. Amazing. And how do you do that? How do you celebrate, or how do you acknowledge yourself for your wins?
Um, I just, again, journal every day. So I try to do small wins,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that when we take a look at our goals overall, that we get lost in looking at that overall view and not doing the small wins on the small steps in order to get us to our goals. And we can get overwhelmed because of that. So I just journal and I just say, hey, like today I had a fabulous day. So I sat by myself at a restaurant and there was a big smile on my face.
Mm.
Normally I don't go to restaurants and celebrate. It's just I celebrate myself and just go,
Yeah.
yeah, you did well.
Yeah. And it's so it's so important what you said about the small things, because you're right. Like, we sometimes set these big goals and these big things that we want to get done, but really the only way to get them done is to take small, tiny little steps every day. And I'm not sure if you've read BJ Fogg's work, Tiny Habits, his book Tiny Habits, or James Clear, Atomic Habits. I personally like BJ Fogg's book a little bit better, but um, he talks, and his whole book is called Tiny Habits. But he talks about just taking the smallest, like the tiniest step you can take every day. And if that's what you get done, then that's what you acknowledge yourself for, because it's those little tiny things that will lead to actually getting that big result. So I'm a big believer in this. And this is also why doing like a daily reflection is awesome. A weekly reflection is great. And even a monthly reflection, because it kind of chunks down the year into more manageable bite-sized pieces. And then you're right, Marilyn, it reduces that overwhelm around, like, well, I have this big thing. How am I ever going to get it done? And it kind of gets us stuck. And sometimes we just get paralyzed. Like, well, it's too big. I'm not going to do it. I don't even know where to start, versus just figuring out what's the smallest, littlest thing and focusing on those things. So I'm really glad that you celebrate yourself. I know that, a lot of women find that really challenging to acknowledge themselves and even take the time to celebrate themselves. So it could just be a little virtual pat on the back, or a little like high five in the mirror, as Mel Robbins would do, right? Or just a little pep talk. Or it could be something bigger, like taking yourself out for dinner or that kind of thing. But I think just even a little acknowledgement in the day is like super powerful. So thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate that. So now on the flip side of that, what were some of the gaps? And I don't particularly like using the word failure, Elizabeth. I know you kind of mentioned that word, and I just like to come at it from a place of curiosity and just openness. Like, what were some of the things that didn't go so well? What were some of the gaps? So maybe just take a little bit of time just to write that down. What were some of the gaps? What maybe didn't go so well in the month of May? And again, just from a place of non-judgment, just, hey, these things happen, right? And then the big question, this is kind of the one that I think is really the crux of it is like, what did you learn? What did you learn this past month? And that's really how we can get out of the failure feeling or that stuck feeling. It's like, well, what did I learn from that? And Marilyn says you're not a failure, Elizabeth. So I agree.
Thank you. Thank you. You know what? I realize, if I was going to say something I learned how important it is to me. So I'm kind of reinventing myself, and I just want to do design as a hobby, but I'm pretty good at it. And I've taken a couple of courses already, and this is like a real course. I'm not going to graduate. I don't I don't want to graduate and be a designer, but it's a real design course, not just an online kind of ad hoc course.
Mhm.
And so, and I realized I do want to know, like I want to know about color theory. I want to know about um technical drawings, and like I do want to have the skills so I can help people. And it's been really fun to get to know people, and they've invited me into their spaces. Like my little for my 25th wedding anniversary, this little girl was my flower girl. She's 12 now. It was 5 years ago, and her mom invited me to help her decorate her room.
Mm.
How special, right? And so I'm doing that, and we're having a ball doing it. And I bought a
Yeah.
few things on Facebook Marketplace for her, and little fairies, and we're gonna have fairy lights, and it's fun, right? And it's a way to connect with people on a deeper level and spend time with them that's meaningful, which is really important to me.
Yeah. And part of our journey in life is to keep learning, I think. And I love that you're learning what you what you love to learn, right? That's so cool.
Yeah, I got my living room exactly the way I want it. Like, and it gives me such a good feeling. My mom hired an interior designer when I was 15 for her living room because she inherited a whole bunch of antiques from my grandma, and I've got that same feeling in my living room. I love it.
Mm. Nice. That's amazing. Marilyn, any learnings from you? Any lessons that you want to share?
Well, I kind of get down on myself sometimes. LinkedIn can be a pain.
Mm-hmm.
So I get down on myself sometimes because I figure like nobody's listening to me, nobody loves me.
Mm. Mm.
Um, and then I feel like out of the blue, and this is me in the universe, I think that when you get down on yourself, something happens, and the universe goes, hey, look at this. And like one of my wins was being nominated um, for one of the top 50 inspirational people on LinkedIn.
You were? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
So, I mean, out of the blue, this
Yeah.
woman, like, and like, it's not like we yap all the time, like you and I, we don't yap all the time, but we yap, and she doesn't. And
Mm-hmm.
out of the blue, it was a tag, and she said, these are my nominations. And I'm like, yeah, okay, thanks for the mention.
Oh.
And then, it's okay, here are the nominations. This is what you have to do. And I'm like, oh my God, this is serious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So at least yeah. So, and Elizabeth, you learned that you're good at um, design.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't have to study as much as you think you do.
Yeah. Well, I can do pretty good with just what I know, but like they have special, I've done all their special courses. They have some
Hmm.
webinars and stuff on color theory and stuff. It's fascinating to me. I love it. And it's
Yeah.
something that the other courses didn't really go into. It was more like how to arrange a wall or how to, right?
I think that's so cool, right? Like you're learning kind of what you want to learn more about too, right? And you're kind of just following that your interests, which I think is like really critical, right? That's kind of how I don't know, this is how you reinvent yourself as you follow your interests, right? And Marilyn, I would say to you, like, nothing's really out of the blue, right? Like you said, you have this dance with the universe, and all the work that you've done and you are doing, being consistent on LinkedIn, and I know that you're also taking courses, and you want to also reinvent yourself and what you're doing. Like all those things are causing, right? these things to randomly, quote unquote, or out of the blue, quote unquote, happen, right? So it's definitely you creating those opportunities for you, which I think is really cool.
No, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So one thing that I have been talking a lot about lately is what I'm calling energy zappers. And it's something that I feel we sometimes forget about. Like we don't always, not that I want to go down the negative route, but sometimes really pinpointing what tasks or task or activity depletes our energy is a really good source of pinpointing and creating a solution to that. So just think about what is one thing that you do that really drains you, that you're like, if I didn't have to do this, I'd be so much happier.
Vacuuming.
I love vacuuming. That's so funny. It's so funny because everyone has, right, different things.
Why do you love vacuuming? I need to know.
I just love the satisfaction of having a clean floor and seeing it like all nice. So, and for me, it's kind of just like for me, I like to have things organized and tidy. So it just declutters my mind, I guess. So I like to have it clean.
Okay.
So I find it kind of therapeutic.
Oh, fun.
What about you, Marilyn? Do you know something that totally drains your energy?
It's nothing that I do. It's some people that I meet,
Mm-hmm.
and I call them energy vampires.
Yeah, totally.
And so, and I'm always well, give them another chance type of person. So then I give them another chance type of person. And then I find that I just wasted my time. So, so that's I have to be a little crueler and, just what does Mel Robbins say? No, that was Mel Robbins that said it. It's lose that which no longer serves you.
Yeah, lose that which no longer serves you. And I think too, like it's listening to your intuition. Like you said, I just kind of know sometimes when people are going to be like that. And so why am I giving them a second chance? Right? Like it's kind of like, do I give them a second chance and just honor what your intuition says? I think is sometimes really good. And then, how can you start to maybe, I mean, again, it's not people sometimes, but yes, how can you minimize being around those types of people, or how can you minimize doing the task or the thing that drains you? So I don't know, in your case, Elizabeth, is there something that you can do to minimize that draining activity of vacuuming?
I think if I think if everything's picked up, it'll be easier and I'll just get it over with. Like, I think if I can keep the floor clear, then I won't mind vacuuming. It's all the stuff I have. Like, I've got few little piles of unmade decisions and decorating stuff that I've collected for other people. I've got to get that stuff out of here, like, because I can't vacuum with that in.
Yeah. So it's coming up with like, okay, I actually know what the real problem is. It's the stuff on the floor.
Domino. Yeah, it's a domino.
It's a domino effect. Yeah. Yeah. And Marilyn, to your point, it's just it's called setting boundaries, right? Like you know that around people.
Yeah, setting boundaries, or actually, for Pete's sake, Marilyn, start listening to your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. Our time is limited, right? So the people, and they, I don't know who said this originally, but it's like the people that we surround ourselves with are so critical to our own overall well-being, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's physical, like it's all the well-being, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, right? So it's whatever you surround yourself with. It's people, it's content, it's things, right? So if things drag you down in your house, it's maybe time to get rid of them. If content is dragging you down, it's time to switch content and people as well. Like there's such and I know everyone here on this call, we're all, we're very empathetic people, and we are in tune with other people's energy. And so when we collide with people's energy that isn't aligned with our energy or that drains us, then it just completely depletes you, right? And it's just we just need to set that boundary. Like I'm not going to be around people who drag me down like that, or I'm going to minimize my time with those people if they happen to be someone that I need to spend a bit of time with, like colleagues or family or something. But
I had an experience with two neighbors and they went plant shopping without me and I'm like, darn, I could have gone. Like I would have wanted to go. And Mel Robbins had this new podcast about let them theory. And it was like let people be who they are. Like so yeah, they went without me. Let them. And it was totally freeing. I'm like, yeah, why am I worrying about that? I can go get plants. Like it's not a big like it doesn't preclude me from getting plants. Like right. And they didn't not include me intentionally. They're just next door neighbors side by side and they decided to do their gardens together, right? But I'm trying to use that more. It's like let them like not worry about what other people are doing. I'm worrying about my lane. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's, I mean, she has so many words of wisdom, right? But it's sometimes we take these things personal, like, why didn't they invite me? Like, what's wrong with me? Do they not like me? Like, all of a sudden we go back to elementary school and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, like, it's nothing personal. They just did their own thing. Like, it's totally fine. We're adults. So I love that. Yeah. So yeah, next time you kind of, I think it's just really good to be aware of like the things or the people that do drain us and how can we minimize that? How can we set some boundaries up for that, right? Like, can you delegate the vacuuming to your husband, or, do you just pick up the stuff off the floor because you know that's going to actually fill your cup a little bit and energize you? So just being aware of those things, because those energy zappers can be really energy zapping, and people can be, like you said, Marilyn, like they can be vampires and just suck the living soul out of us, and there's just no time for that. Um, so the next thing that I want you to think about, and I'll give you like a minute or two to think about, is your intention for June. And so intentions are really about how we want to feel. It's not a goal necessarily, but it's kind of how we want to be, how we want to act, how we want to behave, how we want to feel in June. And so I'm just going to plant that seed as a journaling prompt and give you a minute to think about that and write something down. Is what is your intention for June, as we are just about there? Do you need some more time for that one? I can't see you, Marilyn, so I don't know.
I'm going to set the stage for a great summer.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it.
Finish up, like wrap up what I can wrap up in terms of projects. And like we've got a low maintenance garden, so keep that. Like we've got a fix to do that.
Yeah.
Want to do that. Just like little things, like not little things, but things like that. And I'm going to Burton Cummings, so that's amazing.
Oh, good. I like what you said about just creating a stage for a great summer, right? That's a great intention, because it kind of keeps you, it helps you filter out some of those things and tasks and activities that maybe aren't going to contribute to that, and then really focus on the ones that are going to contribute to having a great summer. And when we tell ourselves we're going to have a great day or a great summer, then it is so, right? We are in that mindset. Even if things get a bit crazy or chaotic or busy or something happens, it can still be a really great summer. So that's a really great intention. Now, moving a little bit towards more of like an action or more of a goal, I guess, is setting a priority for June. And I encourage you to think about like one thing, like what's the most important thing that you want to focus on in June? Not the most urgent, but what's the most important thing for you in order to achieve that intention or in order for you to move forward towards your goals?
I think for me, I'm gonna finish all my little projects in the house and do the garden.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll be done for the summer. Like I won't have to worry about doing that during when Wade's off. I want to, that's part of setting the stage. It's like the environment.
Creating the environment. Yeah, I love that. Marilyn, you're good?
I write down my goals. No, I write down my steps to achieve my vision. Um, I'll do that in June, but it will be the same thing as May,
Yeah.
which will be my intention is to network more, to focus on my vision, because when I lose focus, then it's like I get these people that suck my energy. But anyway, so focus on my vision, network, continue to network, continue to put out content, continue to build my brand. Yeah.
Yeah. So my next question then is what habits or actions can you lean into to support your intention and priority? Like, is there an action step that you can take every day, a little tiny one? Or is there some sort of habit that you want to create or improve on in order to reach that intention, in order to move forward with that intention and that priority?
I intend, because I made this promise to myself, although I didn't do it last week because I just got tired. And when I get tired, it's just back away from social media altogether.
Mm-hmm.
I intend to put out posts every day except for Sundays. My Sundays are my time for reflection.
Mm-hmm.
So I intend to do that. I still intend, I don't know about you both, but I'm getting so many invites for live events on LinkedIn. And I'm like, I could spend 8 hours a day on LinkedIn, and I don't want to do that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So the more I think the more you network, the more you get. So I'm just keep on networking because my goal is to get clients, and we've talked about this before, Vera.
Yeah.
And I've taken some of your recommendations to heart. And I don't know about what you, Elizabeth, but one person said, I love your content, but you keep on missing the one important step at the end. You don't give a call to action.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, give the call to action on everything you do, just give the call. So that's, those are my steps. I plan to walk more because I think when you're creative and you can take the time to go like step outside, Elizabeth, you're gardening. I don't have a garden. So, for me to just walk, I do a walk, I clear my mind. And so I'm going to start walking more. And then I get the creative juices going.
I
So
love
that's
those
it.
action steps. I love those habits and I love those action steps. And I love the awareness around these are the things that I know are going to help me with my creativity. And, I know that it's all about consistency for you, right? So it's like, I'm going to be consistent every day, 6 days a week, and I'm going to add a call to action. That's your new That's your new habit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That feels really good to me. How does it feel to you?
Oh, good. Yeah, as long as I remember the call to action.
Yeah.
I get
Well,
so involved in the post and
yeah.
the video or what I'm doing. It's like, oh man, I forgot you know. So I got a post-it note on my computer now. Call to action button.
Yeah. I was going to say you have to write it down somewhere or, and it just, know that it's going to take some time to create that new habit, right? Like every time we start something new, it takes a little bit, right? And sometimes we'll miss it. We'll like forget it for a day and then we'll have to come back to it. And that's totally okay. That's the whole process of creating a new habit. Is it just sometimes we've been so used to doing something one way, then when all of a sudden you try to switch it, it does take some time to do
Mm-hmm.
that. So just be okay with that. Like, okay, I forgot one day. That's okay. Right. But if you did it most days, that's good. So I really like this next journaling prompt. And it says, June will be an amazing month when. So take some time to write that down. June will be an amazing month when. What do you ladies think of that question? Does it feel like it's kind of a positive, forward moving thing to think about?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the habits. So I kind of did this little mini, I divided my house into 4 zones and I'm gonna do, how they say to do deep work. So I thought do deep work for the IDI course and then do deep work for the house. And so like I just break it kind of like Fly Lady, break it down into one task per day,
Mm.
one kind of idea per day. So I thought first Monday I'll declutter, Tuesday I'll organize, Wednesday I'll um, decorate, and then Thursday I'll do finishing touches. So each week will be one area of my house, and I'll do it during the week, just a little bit each week. And then Friday I get off and I'm writing a play with a friend. So we do that on Fridays. So that'll be kind of my reward for doing that. But I thought the IDI course could be a habit, like just dig in
Mm.
there for an hour. And
Yeah.
if it's more than that, fine. But if it's less than that, I want to try to strive for an hour.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. You're so creative doing that. I love that idea. I love how that, you've just taken this idea and went, okay, I'm just going to do this thing that's going to work for me. So I love that. Love
And
idea.
by the time it's um noon, it's kind of hot out and you don't feel like doing much. So I could read or do something
Yeah.
fun or with a friend or like not plan anything for the morning, just like have that as my time to do what I need to do, move
Yeah.
me forward.
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads actually to my next prompt, which is about self-care.
Mm.
And it's about asking yourself, what do I really need right now? And I find this a really powerful question to ask when I'm feeling a bit down or low, um, or just every day. What do I need today? What do I really need right now?
You know what I need? I need to give myself permission to have the life I want.
How can you do that?
I don't know. I don't know.
If you did know, where would you start?
The space is important to me, but it's more like the internal space. Like, um, I want freedom. That's that's my big thing. I've always wanted freedom, and I think um to play with the idea of being free. Like I don't have any time restraints. I've got time freedom. My money's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Um, there's nothing I don't have. Like I should be content, and I don't feel free, and I want to find out what that would be like to give myself permission to be free.
Yeah, and I wonder how you can maybe every day think about um, how do I feel free right now? How do I feel free today? And look for evidence of things that are giving you freedom or giving you the feeling of freedom. And just start small with that idea.
Just
Play around with it.
yeah, just notice, right?
hmm Notice, yeah. Marilyn, any thoughts on self-care? I know you mentioned going for walks, which I think is like such a big piece of the self-care practice.
One of my, one of my affirmations I say twice a day. Well, I say it 6 times a day, 3 times in the morning, 3 times at night, is I am patient and kind to myself.
Mm,
Mm.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And then the negative ninny comes back in. But,
And then what comes back in?
the negative ninny, and I have
Yes.
named her.
Yes,
So
it's good to give her a name.
And so I can tell her to shut up.
You can tell her to thank you. Thank you for bringing me your opinion. And I'm not listening to you now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always say I am patient to myself. I'm patient and kind to myself.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. And it's such a simple way to create some of that self-compassion and self-love in our life. And I think sometimes we feel it has to be this big thing, like self-care has to be this big, massive thing. And it's great if if you can have time for a massage or have time to have a day to yourself just to do whatever. But the reality is that we're all busy, right? The reality is that we have things to do during the day. So just that short little affirmation, Marilyn, I think it's so powerful, and you do it. And so you're obviously noticing a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like the picture of the woman that you have where you place your hands over your heart. Apparently, Mel Robbins says that there's a neurological fact that if you do that, it brings calm. It actually slows your heart rate down.
It does, because you're reminding tactilely touching yourself, like you're
Mm-hmm.
reminding yourself physically that it's there. So it's that brain body connection, right? Like I put my hand on my heart or on my belly and I'm reminding myself that I'm here, like I'm feeling my body physically, not just
Mm-hmm.
thinking about my heart. So it comes on it being that intentional, right? Like when we focus on it and we're intentional on it, then it does calm us down. And so I do it a lot. A lot of times I'll hold a rose quartz crystal or whatever else kind of speaks to you, and I'll hold that against my heart as well as a physical reminder. But I know there's also something energetically going on there too. So that's a really powerful thing to do, and it doesn't take long just to breathe or say a couple of affirmations. It takes less than 30 seconds, and we're calming ourselves down, and it's such a beautiful self-care practice. So thank you for sharing that. I really love that.
You're welcome.
So those are the journaling prompts. I'm curious if there was any questions or how you feel about upcoming June right now? Elizabeth, do you feel more like you're on the raft that maybe isn't moving so fast?
Yeah, I feel like I've got some oars to kind of
Good.
navigate. Yeah.
And what about you? Are you feeling like you're still in the forest and you're like, okay, I feel like I can stay here for a bit?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Until, the negative Minnie takes over. But no.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no. I'm in a good space. I mean, today was a stellar day for me. So I just have to, as Brendan Bouchard said, sometimes if you get anxious in the negativity, just go towards the love.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a stellar day today, and I'm gonna stick with that for tomorrow too. Yeah.
Yeah, and be grateful for that, right? Like part
Yep.
of that gratitude practice is like, okay, I had a really great day today. And even, even on the days where we feel like we didn't have a good day, the reminder is, well, was it a bad day throughout, or did I just have a portion of the day was bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just shifting that mindset around, well, what did go well today? And go through your day. I like to do this at the end of when I go to sleep. Before I go to sleep, I think through my day, like from the very beginning of the day to the very end of the day, I go through everything. And I kind of have this gratitude treasure hunt, as I call it, and look for all the things that I'm really grateful for in the day. Because there's always something to be grateful for. And usually there's a lot to be grateful for, but we just forget about it because we're bogged down by something that didn't go so well. So yeah, I love that you had a great day, Marilyn. Yay.
Thank you. Thank
Stay
you.
in that energy.
I'm gonna do a freedom treasure hunt.
Yes. That sounds great. Yes. Every night. How did I feel freedom today?
I had a nap today. That's a freedom treasure hunt.
Hell yeah.
Adam. Yeah.
Yeah. Not everyone has the freedom to do that, right? Yes, I love that. Oh my gosh. I always learn so much doing these workshops, ladies. Like I just learn so much from you and from everybody else that attends. And so thank you for that because it helps fill my toolbox too, so I can help other people. So I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, you're welcome. So just a couple of things. I don't know if this is going to pertain to either of you, but I'm co-hosting a masterclass next week on Ready to Love Your Job. So it's for anyone who's looking for new work. And I'm co-hosting that with a career strategist and resume writer. So if you know anyone that's unhappy in their job right now or unemployed, this will be really good for them. And then I'm doing sorry,
How much is it?
it's free. This is
No
online.
way.
Yeah,
No
so it's
way.
free. It'll be an
So send me
hour-long
the link,
workshop.
okay? I
Yep.
do have a friend who's interested in career planning.
Okay, I'll send you the link. Yep. I'm also doing a mid-year reset. So I'll be similar to this. I like to do a mid-year reset again, halfway through the year. Don't panic. We've still got half the year left. Let's kind of reset, regroup. So if you're interested, again, that's just going to be a free online workshop. It's very similar to this. If you can make that, that's on June 27th. I think you both listen to my podcast. Hopefully you do. And I think we're connected on social in some way, shape, or form. Or I know, Elizabeth, for sure you're on my newsletter list. So
Yeah.
I know we're connected that way. And then I know you both know about my one-on-one coaching as well. So we won't really get into that, but that offer still stands if you're interested in or know somebody who's interested in getting some guidance in a 6-week kind of capacity, one-on-one with me. And then last but not least, I found this really great quote by Lucy Maud Montgomery, who I love. And she says, I wonder what it would be like to live in a world where it was always June. And I love this quote because I love June. We're heading into finally summer weather, especially here in Calgary. And, it's not too hot and there's no snow. And so it's always a wonderful. So I think to your point, Marilyn, staying in that energy of hope and summer and just kind of going back to this, how can we stay in that really great energy of forward moving momentum and summer and gardening and trees and leaves and nature and all that kind of good stuff. So I'll leave you with that. And I'm wishing you a really fabulous June. I really appreciate you coming. I acknowledge you for taking the time, and Marilyn, especially you, because I know that it's late there. So I hope this helps you sleep contently and in really great positive energy. And if you have any questions, please reach out. You know how to get a hold of me.
May I say one thing?
Yes, you may.
Elizabeth, you talk about freedom.
Yeah.
This is years ago. I've been in a self-help, like life coaching thing since 2013. And I started with Brendan Bouchard.
Mhm.
And I always said, I want freedom. I want financial freedom. I want freedom, freedom, freedom. And he said, it was this high performance academy thing that I took. And he talked about freedom. And he said, freedom isn't just financial. I say
Mm.
this to myself again as an affirmation.
Mm.
And it helps me maintain my sense of freedom.
Mm.
So this is just a golden nugget. You can take it or you don't have to, Elizabeth. This is what I say. I live with true freedom based on love and alignment with my truest and best self.
Ooh, that's
Can you say
nice.
that again, Marilyn?
I live with true freedom based on love and alignment with my truest and best self.
Mm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You know, I'm so passionate about bringing women together because we have so much wisdom. And look at all the wisdom that we've shared just with the three of us. I know that I've learned so much from you, so I really appreciate the wisdom that you bring and just the openness to share that as well. We're changing the world, ladies, so
I hope so.
Oh yeah, so we need more of this, right? We need more of this kind of support and uplifting energy and connectedness and learning from each other and knowing that we're not alone going through some of our challenges and struggles, and knowing that there's solutions, and knowing that there's help, and knowing that there's another day, right? So I'm really thankful for you and grateful for this. So I hope to see you again soon. I know I will see both of you at some point in time. So
Yep.